watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.
Shout outs to Blue Blood Sports TV.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Hola, habla Cindy, está viendo Deportes TV.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So I got an interesting link from one of my subs, and I totally forgot his name. And then when I went back to find his name, man, so I could give him the credit for sending me this link, man. If you get this message, if you listen to this video, man, please respond back to me. Let me know, because I lost your name. Then when I went back to the archives to try to figure out your name so I could say who, you know, so I could give you the credit for sending me this link, it is no longer there. So could you please, if you're out there and you're listening to this video, you remember you sent me this link, please get back to me and let me know. But not to mention, nonetheless, it was a interesting link. He sent me that a fan had wrote to the WBA and requested, they let their concerns be known to the WBA and how they're conducting themselves and the business and the way they run their sanctions. And it was about Paul Smith, a fighter, Paul Smith, and he was fighting a guy by the name of Zuji, so this is what was in the letter. It was very interesting to see that Eddie Hearn is the promoter of this fighter. And Eddie Hearn, this is what Eddie Hearn had to say in this letter. And this is what Eddie Hearn said, that what he had to do to get his fighter ranked in the WBA, how he had to go about it, and what little he had to do to get his fighter in the rankings. Eddie Hearn even goes on in this link and states that he knew that his fighter didn't deserve the shot to be ranked in the top 15. Let me read you guys a little clip from this article. And this goes to show the power that Eddie Hearn and the relationship he has with the WBA. This is why I told you guys the entire time that the nonsense that was going on between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, with the WBA all of a sudden coming out and saying that they had 24 hours without a deadline, without a purse bid, nothing of the sort. It's never been done. This is totally unheard of, right? This was all a ploy and all a plot to avoid Deontay Wilder. They never put in a request to get a waiver, none of the sort. This was their plan all along, to fight Alexander Povetkin. And since Deontay Wilder caught them off guard, agreeing to all their lowball offers, agreeing to come to the UK, agreeing to fight. This is so unbelievable. Eddie Hearn actually sent over a contract with no date and no venue. Just think about how that sounds. He sent over a contract. That's pretty much a blank contract. That means that Deontay Wilder could have signed the contract. These are the two things that were in the contract that was the issue. There was no date for the fight and no revenue. And no location. Why would you do such a thing? And people can actually, I get so fuming. This is why I haven't touched on this. Today I see a lot of people was touching on it. It's just so disgusting at this point for you to be such a coward, and for people to be such cowards and go along with it and actually defend this nonsense. It's disgusting. If you're a boxing channel, if you're a channel period, if you're a reporter, if you're a journalist, and you report on this, and you don't display the disgustingness that took place in this whole ordeal, You yourself are a coward. Because, like I always said, real recognize real. Only cowards allow cowards to run in their circle, and that's why cowards are out of shape, because they have too many squares in their circle, and they don't fit. That's the bottom line. So I actually saw a video with somebody saying that Deontay Wilder ducked Anthony Joshua. Can you believe this nonsense? It's unbelievable. They were sent over a blank contract. Who in their right mind would sign a blank contract? That means he could have said, oh, your fight will be in 2025 in Nebraska, in the North Pole. And now his John Hancock is on it, and he's buying to that. So why in the world would he do such a thing? It's unbelievable. But anyway, in this article, this is a relationship. This just goes to show the relationship that Eddie Hearn has with the WBA outside of the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder situation, because these are two fighters that have nothing to do with it, right? This is what Eddie Hearn had to say. The funny thing about it is, the Paul Smith situation, he says the funny thing about the Paul Smith situation is that I didn't even have to do that. Eddie Hearn explained in an affirmation interview. You don't have to request for a fighter to be ranked. He says, Paul Smith, as Paul Smith's promoter, literally just asked you to rank Paul Smith, and for some reason unbeknown to me, or seemingly even him, you said yes. You even had the audacity to put him in the at the number 5 in your rankings. The fan that was displeasure, showing his concerns for how they're doing it. He says it's laughable, really. He goes on to say, if all you have to do, and he's going back and forth. He says that all you had to do is to get in the WBA top 15 is fight 3 6-rounders, and you have your promoter ask for you to be ranked. Then you may as well do away with your top 15s altogether. You should end the illusion that you have a genuine ranking system and just let anybody fight for any of your titles whenever. This is insane. Before I move on from this Zuji Smith, I want to point out that on May 20th, you sent a tweet from your own personal Twitter account claiming you were going to have a final decision on formal approval of this bout. Wow. Wow. This is you can find this article on Talk Sports. It's titled "An Open Letter from a Boxing Fan to the WBA President Gilberto Mendoza on Zuji versus Smith." This took place June 12, 2017, 12:21 p.m. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So the WBA, so Eddie Hearn actually went to the WBA and asked them to move his fighter up in the rankings to have this fight. If Eddie Hearn could just walk into the WBA office, and he says this, he admits it himself, that all he had to do was go to them and ask them to put his fight in a position to have this fight. So if he got such a relationship that he could do such things as just walk into the office and ask a fighter to put him in position, that this is not a made up, this is a real article. So go check out the article, like I told you. So on talksports.com. This title, "An Open Letter from a Boxing Fan to the WBA President Gilberto Mendoza on Zuji versus Smith." Go check it out. It's from June 12th, 2017, 12:21 p.m. And this is Eddie Hearn admitting that all he had to do was walk into the office and ask the WBA to move his fighter up in the rankings so this fight could take place. So if he could do that, then you could imagine what he could do with such a huge fight in Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. So it's just like we assumed, is that he walked into the office, he asked the WBA, listen, I need you to give us a 24-hour deadline so I don't have to, I'm not forced to make this fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, because we would much rather have Alexander Povetkin versus Anthony Joshua. Could you do that for us? Because you know something? They're going to get back to us on Friday, and then we have nowhere else to hide. So would you mind doing that for us? And the WBA president, Gilberto Mendoza, he said, yeah, no problem. I'll gladly do that for you. It's in the best interest of both of us. Now, we get what we want, you get what you want, and all is well. That's the bottom line. That's what took place. That's what took place. That's just the bottom line. And if this article here doesn't let you know that's the relationship that Eddie Hearn has with the WBA, then you, my friend, are living under a rock. That's the bottom line. But that's all I got for y'all on this topic. So Eddie Hearn has been exposed once again with the corruption with the WBA. He had no interest of fighting Deontay Wilder. None. It was all a smoke screen. That's just what it was. They had all plans to fight Alexander Povetkin in September. Also, too, I want to touch on this. Do you know that Eddie Hearn sent one of the contracts that Eddie Hearn sent, where the actual date was September 15th? The actual date of Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. I'll repeat that again for you to let that go over your head. On one of the contracts he sent to Deontay Wilder, the date was September 15th, the actual date of Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G. He knew damn well that fight couldn't take place on that day. So why would you send it? And then the Alexander Povetkin fight is set for September 29th. Right? So why didn't he send over the contract with the date September 29th originally? Why would he send over a date with September 15th, knowing that that's the date that Canelo, I'll repeat this again for people that just don't understand and just can't grasp it. Canelo Alvarez fights on 2 dates. That date being Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, and September, the second week in September, whichever that Saturday falls on, that date falls on, which is Mexican Independence Day weekend. Now, I'm not sure if it always falls on the 15th, but it's always about the second week, the middle of September. So everybody in the sport of boxing knows this. It's just like Floyd Mayweather used to fight on those dates. And it was a huge thing that Canelo Alvarez said that he was taking those dates back from Floyd Mayweather because Floyd Mayweather wasn't Mexican and he wanted to have those dates back for the Mexican people. And that's exactly what he did. And those are the exact dates that Canelo Alvarez fights on year in and year out. So how could you possibly be a boxing promoter and not know that that's what you're facing when you fight, when you're promoting a fighter and a fight? You know there's 2 dates that's always going to be taken up. That's Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day weekend. One is in May, one is in September. But conveniently for the Alexander Povetkin fight, he knew that he couldn't fight on Mexican Independence Day, September 15th. So he knew that had to be on the 29th. But he made the mistake of sending Deontay Wilder the exact same day Canelo Alvarez fights on. And then says, oh, we can't use that date because Canelo Alvarez stole it. No, Canelo Alvarez didn't steal anything. How could he steal something that he's already been on? How could you claim to be somewhere before somebody when you get there, they're already there? You see the idiocy, you see the hypocrisy, you see the contradictions. You see the lies, the nonsense that takes place. But conveniently, the fight with Alexander Povetkin, he knows that the fight has to take place on September 29th. But for Deontay Wilder, the biggest fight in all of boxing right now, he didn't know that September 15th was taken. You see the hypocrisy? It's just the lies. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable at this point. But that's all I got. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon, get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Shouts out to the whole LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Y'all already know what it is. Eddie Hearn exposed again his relationship with the WBA on a previous fight that took place back in 2017, June 12, 2017. He says that all he had to do to get his fighter in the rankings was just simply ask the WBC to move him up. And the fight took place. But with Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, the biggest fight of all of boxing, he could not ask for them to pardon him and give him an extension until Friday because the WBA gave him a 24-hour notice and he had to abide by those rules. He couldn't ask them to give him an extension for another 48 hours to make the biggest fight in boxing. Amazing, isn't it? Yes, it is. But that's all I got for y'all. It's your boy Blue. Y'all already know what it is. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Like and share these videos. And for that sub that sent me this link and sent me this information, please, I would appreciate if you get back, drop your name, tell me who you were, because I tried to go back and figure out who it was that sent it to me, and I lost all the information. I actually lost the article itself, you know, but get back to me and let me know, man. It's your boy Blue. That's all I got. Peace.
The Blue Blood Sport TV, baby, from the Empress. Much love. Mwah.